welcome to Pulling Back the Rug, where I am your host, Hope, and today I am just blessed, excited, just listen, we're going to have a real good show. So normally I have different guests, and this particular guest that I have tonight is kind of close to my heart, real special, looks a little bit like me, I'm not sure. But can you all help me welcome my guest on tonight, the one and only Mr. Ivan Henry himself?
That's right. That's me. All right, let's pull back the rug.
Wait a minute, you ready, huh?
Yeah.
So for everyone who does not know, this is the eldest of my 5 children, Ivan.
All 5.
So for all of those who keep saying, you know, this is my brother, would you please let the people know you are really my brother?
I am her brother. I'm just playing.
You are not
I
my
am her
brother.
oldest child. Yeah, this is my mama. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm her oldest child, and we've been getting that since I was born. So yeah.
we're going to pull back the rug.
Pull
You
it back.
ready?
Yeah, let's pull it back.
Okay. So normally, like I said, I have other guests on the show, but this is different because it's me and you, mother and son. And I
Brother
really
and
wanted
sister.
to, brother and sister, hey, whatever you want to say, I wanted to take time and kind of pull the rug back on some stuff, if you'll allow me.
Of course.
So coming up, number one, I had you at a very young age. So we grew up together. And there were a lot of mistakes. Pretty much you were the child my mom wasn't going to have.
Right.
And so you experienced a lot. You literally watched me go from being a clubber, in and out, doing my own thing, to going full-time in ministry. So just tell me a little bit about what you experienced, because at that time I was a single mother.
Right.
And I did have a village. However, it was kind of different for you. So just kind of talk about that a little bit.
Okay, so I would say, number one, I don't think it was a mistake. I think it was just lessons that were learned.
Yeah.
And being a single mother, you had a village, but you still had to do it on your own.
Yeah.
Which you did an amazing job, by the way.
I did.
Look
I
at me,
did.
you know.
Kudos to me.
But I think the transition between you being just Hope until being the servant Hope was not a drastic change. Because you still have to realize I was not oblivious to church.
Yeah.
We
You've been
still
in
went to
your
church
whole life.
faithfully.
Yeah.
I was in church faithfully.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things is, you may have clubbed, but you made sure I was in the sanctuary on Sunday morning.
Did.
So it was I'm doing my own thing, but I also know where my priority lies.
Yeah.
Where there was always a reverence of God. So it wasn't like a culture shock.
Right.
When you decided to be like, oh, I'm going to be in ministry now. It was just like oh, you're here all the time now, like me. You know, that's how it played out. But I don't think that there was a big difference, because one of the things that you did outside of regular single mothers, I didn't see everything.
Come on. True.
And I didn't experience everything.
So now with you saying that, you've always been a peculiar child. And what I mean is, you started singing and praising God at 1. So where people have to learn certain things, that's what you came here doing.
It was already instilled.
It was already in. And so I think that's one of the reasons why whatever I was doing outside of the home, I never allowed you to see it, because I didn't want to change who you naturally were.
Right.
And let me just say this, like, you're a force to be reckoned with, no matter what you've experienced in your life. You're a force. And so I know for a fact what I have. You know, I said that we had to grow up together, meaning that because I had you so young, I didn't know what to do. You know, I didn't have it all together. However, I knew you were different. And anybody that meets you, they know that you're different. And so you being different played an effect with you in school. So there was an incident because you've always been all about God.
Right.
Your whole life. You were the one to go to school and be picked on because you were different. But there was a moment in your life where that different could have taken your life.
Most definitely.
Can we talk about that a little bit?
Let's pull back the rug.
Let's pull it back.
Everything is true from being in second grade and career days. I don't think they even do this where you had to dress up as what you wanted to be when you grew up.
Yeah.
And you had doctors and lawyers in the room, and here I come with a suit on because I want to be a preacher. And here I am walking with a Bible, quoting scriptures, and just 7 years old.
Yeah.
Because that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be anything. That's what I was around.
Yeah.
And so, instance where it almost cost me my life was either being a part of a gang or losing your life, and you having the courage to say, well, I'm just going to have to lose my life because I'm not going to bow or become stereotype.
Yeah.
I think that's what made me, really gain a true relationship for myself when it came to God.
Yeah.
Because I had my father's mother before she passed, and then I had Nana.
Yeah.
And so I had those prayers. Then it wasn't like you didn't know God.
Yeah.
So I had those prayers. Then I had the fact of almost not even being alive, being born.
So can you just imagine, just go with me for a moment, me being a parent,
Yeah.
being at work, getting a phone call, hey, your son has been knocked into a concrete
wall. Yeah.
And literally, just that moment was like what do you mean? Only to find out that it was either you be jumped into a game or you lose your life, pretty much.
Exactly.
And so you endured a lot from you experienced dental issues.
Being in a neck brace.
Neck brace.
I couldn't have solid foods for almost half of the year. Now, all of this, mind you, all of this happened while still being a PK. And if nobody know what a PK is, that's a preacher's kid. And so at that time, with you being a pastor, just because I was injured, it did not stop your responsibilities.
It didn't. So let's even talk about that, because a lot of times, ministry, it costs more than people know. It's moments where you want to go to Great America, or you want to go to out of town or to do something, but because you have church, you can't go.
Right.
And so, did you ever resent that? Like,
of
what
course.
You said, of course.
Of course.
Oh,
of course. Because here's the thing. When you become a PK, you become selfless too.
Yeah.
So it's not a responsibility that's just on the parent.
Yeah.
It's a responsibility that's on the entire family. Because you have to sit there and just accept that your mother, your father, now has hundreds, thousands of other children that may be spiritual, but they still get the same attention, if not more, because their soul is at stake.
Yeah, but you even had a problem when I had another child, because you were by yourself for what, 9 years?
9 years.
You were by yourself.
9
Look
years.
at you. You still.
9 years, 7
Let's
months.
pull the rug back.
And 25 days.
Man.
9 years, 7 months, 25 days to be exact.
So you were by yourself. And
Yeah.
then here I come saying, you're about to be a big brother. You had a problem with that. One, because you're by yourself. So, at least when we're not at church, you get that
I get my own,
attention.
yeah.
But now there's somebody else coming that's about to take the attention
At their
that you
house.
wanted. So I'm going to go into something, okay, if you'll allow me.
Go ahead.
So there was a time where that really played on your mental health. Having to always share your parent.
Yeah.
Because remember, at that time,
You're still a single mom.
I was still single by myself. Even if I was in a relationship, you felt as if I was a single mother. But, you know, that part of your dad was lacking. So all you had was me.
Yeah.
So now here it is, the me that you have is bringing somebody else into the world. And so now you're dealing with mental issues. Can you kind of tell the people what happened to you a little bit?
Yeah, so when you spoke on culture, when you spoke on seeing the transitions between you being a clubber and then full-time ministry,
Yeah.
that was not what I consider a turbulence transition. That was smooth.
Right.
That was easy to adapt to. The turbulence came in to the point of, and I think I didn't resent my first sister because of the fact that she came into the picture. Because believe it or not, I wanted another sibling.
Right.
I was tired of being by myself. I was tired of having imaginary friends. I was tired of all of that.
Right.
What happened was I ended up becoming a big brother to one natural sister, but I ended up becoming a big brother to members of a church.
Okay.
So I didn't have to, it wasn't the fact that, oh, I have to share you at home now. It's the fact that I have to share you at home and I got to share you at church. But I got to share you at church with people that I know don't love you as much as I do, but they get more attention than I do.
Oh, boy.
So the resentment came to my sister because then it's like, well, now I don't got her at home. I can't do nothing about you being in ministry. That's between you and God.
Okay, so you just said a whole lot. Let's just pause. Let's pull the rug back. Because you said something that was key. Nobody really knows the time that's put into ministry behind the scenes, unless you're behind the scenes. So here it is. You see me in ministry, doing what I love to do. You see me countless phone calls,
Countless hospital visits.
having
Having the
different
heart
things.
for the people, getting up at 3 in the morning to go to the hospital. Let me tell y'all. Then she'll get up and go to the hospital. She'll come home, wake me up, get ready for school while she go to work. I get home from school. She ain't at home because there's somebody else that needs to be counseled or married with, and then she got to deal with them. And by the time she get home, I'm in the bed asleep to do it all over again.
But you said, I did all of these things for people who really didn't love me the way you did or appreciate me the way you did.
Nope.
And so like a lot of this, it's just not coming out because it is pulling back the rug. And, you know, a lot of times people don't talk face to face with their children. So I think this is important because if you never sit down and talk about these things, you'll never know what your child is dealing with. So I'm gonna just pause. Let me talk to the audience for a minute, because if you have children and you're in ministry, I encourage you, sit down, have a conversation with your child. See how your child is feeling about what you're doing. See what your children see. See what your children hear. Because there's a lot of things that we as adults experience and we feel like our children don't know, but you knew.
And even to add to it, talk to the ones that do ministry with you. Because just because I was one of the PKs where I didn't just sit in the congregation.
Yeah.
I actually worked ministry. I actually did ministry.
Yeah.
So you have it on a greater scale now where it's, I have to have the role of son, but then also remember that I'm still working in ministry alongside, so I see it all.
Yeah.
But then I go home to see it all too.
Yeah.
So it's like a best of both worlds in a sense, because just because I'm doing ministry with you don't mean I'm in agreement.
So that's key. because there were several times that we clashed because it was like, Ma, why you doing all?
Yes.
Even now, there were some situations and you're like, well, why you don't handle it like this? Why you don't handle it like that? And I always go back to, sometimes we got to let God be God in everything. You know, that's my thing.
And
let
pray
God
about it.
Pray about it. You know, what's your name for me?
Joel Osteen. Let me tell y'all, this is Joel Osteen, and because we're gonna turn it female. This is Jolene Osteen. She always see the good in everybody.
You should.
She always praying for people.
You should.
And all the rest, and that's good. And so when a lot of people ask me, where do I get my servanthood and my humbling spirit and all that, it comes from her. The only difference is I be on the rough side of heaven sometimes, and she be on the saved side of heaven sometimes. So the clash is not a sense of I want you to stop doing this.
Yeah.
Sometimes the clash is I just want you to stop doing it to the people who are going to always victimize themselves anyway. So it's like you're wasting your time.
Isn't that Christ-like?
Yeah, we know.
Listen, no.
Jesus.
This is really, really a teachable moment because I hear what you're saying. But our Savior,
hallelujah,
he dealt with people that helped him, assisted him, thrusted him to the cross.
This is true.
He didn't stop serving. He didn't stop working. He did what he needed to do because there was a greater purpose. And that's what I try to tell you all the time. No matter what you endure, there's always a greater purpose. And because I know that you've been peculiar your whole life, which is why a lot of people don't even know when you were born, you almost died.
No, they don't know.
So
I run on this stage.
When I had you, and I'm going to tell everybody this story, when I had you, maybe 30 minutes after having you, they came in my room and told me that you wasn't going to make it.
No, yes, they did. I was
gone. What they did, and I think I told you, they prepared my parents, they prepared your grandmothers, they prepared your father, and they put a yellow flower up on my door. Now, anybody that knows anything about that, yellow means that that baby is deceased. So they had already said you were deceased, but you had a praying grandmother.
What Helen Baylor say? I had a praying grandmother. That's what they said.
Don't do it on the stage, okay?
Thank you.
You had a praying grandmother, and what she did was she came in and she anointed you with oil.
Yeah.
And literally 24 hours later, you started breathing normally.
So the yellow that was over my door, I'm wearing it.
Had to come down. It had to come down, and it's on your sleeve.
I'm wearing.
And you're alive and well.
I'm just saying.
So I know for a fact that there is something great for you to do. So you can't be distracted by what's going on. And saying that, you, sir, you're different because of the God in you. You have a love for something. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit. You have a love for quartet music.
Oh, thank you, Lord.
So anybody that knows you knows that whatever you do, you're going to give 2,000%. Some people say that it's a show. Some people may say you do too much. But literally, this is how you've been since you were here.
Born.
And so how do you encourage the person that's listening to you right now who has somebody in their ear telling them, you do too much?
So recently, I just got back into being like who I really am.
Yeah.
And that's from quartet on down. Because what people don't know is my mother sang with countless groups and choirs, and my father played for countless of quartet groups.
Yeah.
So my love for choir and my love for quartet, it goes hand in hand. I have the best of both worlds, literally. However, it's those moments when I'm singing and when I'm in service, I give 2,000% because there could have been a time where I wasn't doing it at all.
Yeah.
There could have been a time where people could be walking over me every single day to bury somebody else.
Yeah.
And so I think about those times where I wasn't supposed to be born.
Yeah.
I think about those times where if we was to pull back the rug, dealing with the pressures of being a PK and a new big brother and bullying at school because, oh, you're raised by women, so you must be gay or you must be feminine because you don't have the structure and that masculinity, and because you're not sports savvy, you have to deal with all of that on top of still trying to serve the same God that people are telling you to curse. So you have to, I was in a mental institution because of all of this stuff.
Now talk about how long were you in a mental institution?
So I'm probably in a mental institution probably about a good 2 months.
Yeah.
Only because of the fact that I literally had to deal with that. It becomes stressful. And I don't think people realize the stress that PKs really have.
Yeah.
People don't realize the stress because not only do we have to protect ourselves, but my mom being a single mother, raising kids on her own, doing it beautifully. My mother wasn't out in the streets. My mother did not introduce a man to us until he had put a ring on her finger.
And did.
My mother was not in and out of rooms. My mother was at home every night. And if she went out on the weekend, she came back at reasonable hours and made sure that Saturday night our clothes were ironed and we were up for church the next morning. So there was no imbalanced home.
Yeah.
But because I was the oldest, I had to be the man of the house as well as be the one that tell my other siblings that don't understand why isn't mom at home? Why are you cooking us dinner? Why are you watching us? Why are you telling us what to do? Because they don't understand that. You think about all of that. So you felt the
weight of everything.
You feel the weight of it all.
Which, and I want to go a little deeper since we're gonna go ahead and pull the rug back. You tried to end it all, which is what got you to the mental institution. Which that was a very trying time, and just the fact that we could talk about it now, it shows what God can do. But I remember it so vividly because here it is. I'm thinking you just playing in your room, and I go in your room, and you have a noose around your neck. Now, the first thing is, of course, like, oh my God, you know what I mean? But to have to relive that, to think about it.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But it serves a purpose because when people realize and understand, every time I get an opportunity to grace a mic, I treat it like it's my last time gracing that mic.
Yeah.
And then you also have to think about this. That's for the person who feels like ending it all is the solution, it actually makes situations even more worse.
Yeah.
Because you feel like if I end it all, then, all of these things go away. Actually, it worsens because now people have to grieve you while still dealing with the very thing that caused you to want to do it in the first place.
And I heard you mention this, and I'm going to touch on this a lot because you were surrounded by women your whole life.
Entire life.
That was your village. That was who prayed for you, fed you, clothed you, everything. And so you automatically dealt with the stigma of he's gay, he's gay, he's gay. But I thank God because you had great leaders around you. Early on in your life, you had your Uncle Pastor who was very instrumental in grooming you. And then you later on went to another ministry, and she was instrumental in grooming you. And then your latter years, recently, you had someone who cultivated you, who helped you, who poured into you. And regardless to where life has taken you, those people you can't forget
at all
because they were instrumental in who you are today. So who are you today?
So I think what the crazy thing about it is I think people don't realize this. When people put you in a box, most times they're putting you in the box they want to be themselves.
Yeah.
And so because they don't know how to deal with that box themselves, they try to stuff everybody else in it.
Yeah.
Because if I can say you're in it, nobody will know that I'm really the one trying to fit inside.
And you're different. You're very different.
And so in me being different, I have never, ever, and I never will be a sports savvy person.
No, sir.
Music is my life.
Yeah.
Acting is my life.
Yeah.
Theater is my life.
Yeah.
But that does not define who I am.
So how do you balance your love for music, theater, and all of these things?
Mm-hmm.
Because you still have this great call on your life.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that ministry is also what you love to do. And so anytime anybody see you, you're at church, you're doing something, you're going. I remember when you were in the valley of trying to figure out what you would do next.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw that person before because you slept, you were somber, you were just like kind of here but not here.
Mm-hmm.
Because you were not doing what you loved. And so how do you balance ministry and your love for music and for the arts? Because that's what it is.
So I think first of all, in that dark space, it was for a very long time.
Yeah.
And it literally was just going through the motions.
Yeah.
And so everybody can encourage you, but the only person that can get you out of that place is yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
So it does not matter how many times people pray for you, how many times people lay out before God on your behalf.
Yeah.
If you are not receptive to that, you're literally wasting prayers, wasting that time.
Yeah.
And so because people will get in your ear and tell you this is what you should be doing.
Yeah.
This is how you should act. This is how you should be. I had women around my life because those women were the ones that were consistent.
Yeah. Yeah.
My uncle pastor was in my life. So I had form of that masculinity.
Yeah.
My uncle Anthony was in my life. So I had that form of masculinity. And contrary to popular belief, I believe I did very well being around and being surrounded by women, only because in relationships, it allowed me to understand both how and when to cater to a woman.
Yeah. Come on now. So wait, I want to pull something back for a minute, because there was a time in your life where you had to forgive your father.
Yes.
There are a lot of people watching this show that may be struggling at this very moment with forgiving their parent for not being as hands-on as they should have been. And
Right.
one thing I can say about you and your father is that now it's like y'all like this.
Mm-hmm. That's
But
my road dog right there.
It took forgiveness because maybe you didn't understand where he was in his life at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to him, because one thing I will say about myself, your father, my husband, and your bonus mom is
Yeah.
that we have a blended family,
Literally.
a real blended family. And so
Literally.
like, you know, your dad calls my husband his baby daddy.
The
So
only
that's
people
blended,
that
right?
have a baby daddy.
And so many people have a problem with blended families.
Yeah.
But we all cohesively gel so well that it's scary. So
Yeah.
it is possible.
It's very much possible, and it's very much possible to forgive
Yeah.
a parent.
Yeah.
Because what you have to realize is there is no roadmap or no instruction manual on how to be a parent.
Yeah.
And I want people to get this out. There is no perfect parent.
Yeah. Yeah.
There isn't one. And so being young, you didn't understand it. But you had to think about, my father is the baby of my grandmother.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you had to deal with the fact that he had lost his mother,
Yeah.
having to deal with the fact that he was with her every day.
And see, that's the thing people don't understand. So here it is. you were able to break a generational curse because your dad was with his mom alone. He longed for his father. Here it is, he has you. At a point, you're longing for your father. But at some point, you and him decide, hey, we got to come together because we're all we got.
All we got.
And now your relationship is dope.
Yeah.
But it took forgiveness. You got to forgive.
It took forgiveness. And one thing I love about my father, he was accountable.
That part, yeah.
So it wasn't I don't know why you need to forgive me. I don't know why. He understood where I was coming from.
Yeah.
And he took the moment to listen to where I was coming from.
Yeah.
And then shout out to my bonus mom, because her stepping in, she held him accountable.
Yeah. And which means, again, we just said, blended families can work if you work them.
If you work them.
Because I love my baby mama.
Yeah, if you work them.
It works when you work it. And everything don't have to be confrontational.
No.
All it takes is adults coming together and saying, hey, there's somebody that needs all of us. And so that's what we did. And it helped to cultivate you into the man that you are. Let me just stop and tell you that I'm proud of you.
Don't make me cry on here now.
I am. I'm going to try, because I do feel a few tears welling. I'm proud to be your mother. I am grateful for what you experienced, be it good or bad, because it taught us how to be there for one another. I know that I could be difficult sometimes because I'm a very peculiar person too. But over the years, you have learned how to deal with Hope as your mom and Hope as the servant.
Yeah.
And a lot of times serving does not feel good.
At all.
It's easy to get into a battle of this person did this to me while I was serving, and that person did that to me while I was serving. But what I try to teach you all the time is things will happen, but you can't never stop serving.
Never. That's key. No matter what happened, no matter what we went through, no matter what, like even from our start at 7222, and I can say the address out loud. We don't live there no more, so y'all ain't like you come to our house. But from our start there, no matter what happened, you never stopped serving.
Yeah.
And you taught me how to suffer with grace.
Yeah.
Because that's not the end result all the time.
Right.
And so it's like, I think it is imperative that parents and children have those type of conversations.
Because we talk about every, and listen,
let me tell y'all something.
When I say we talk about everything,
there is nothing.
No secrets.
There is nothing.
No holdbacks.
Nothing.
Because I created my own safe space for you, for your siblings, because I don't want it to ever be said that I was so holy that I was no earthly good.
At all.
That's the word. I didn't want to be that parent, but we talk about everything.
Everything.
There's nothing that I don't know.
Like, it's crazy because there's a different dynamic in our house.
Yeah.
Because my siblings, who are very younger than me, not that younger though, because I ain't that old, but who are very younger than me, and so the dynamic is different. So the stuff that they be, oh my mom,
They prudish.
why?
They
like,
real prudish.
Mom, why are you talking about this?
Yeah, they
Or
real prudish.
why are you saying that? It's normal, because that's the culture that was built where there's no need to hide anything.
Yeah.
There is nothing that your mom cannot teach you.
Yeah.
There is nothing that you can't ask your mother or your father or whatever parental guardian that you have. There's nothing that you should be afraid to ask them, because here's the difference between them and the streets. What you learn in the streets is from careless people.
Yeah.
The very thing that you learn from the streets, you can learn from a family member that actually care, because the streets only tell you the solution of something careless. People tell you the solutions and how to build off that solution, what to do next, how to not be in these certain predicaments. And so that's what family is for. Like, anytime I think one of the most greatest things was in a very uncomfortable season when my brother passed, and we held on to each other. There was no blended family. It was family.
Yeah.
You know, there was no, oh, this is my stepbrother that passed. No, this was my brother.
Yeah.
This was your son.
Absolutely.
This was my other sibling's brother.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not one of those. And I want people to tell you that having a blended family or co-parenting, it doesn't exist. Yes, it does.
It does.
And it works wonders. Graduations, I had one set of parents on one side and one set of parents on the other side. And like my father and my other father, Mike, they'll tell you they're the only straight people in the world with baby daddies.
Exactly.
Like, they're the only ones. My father on the phone, he'd be like, tell my baby daddy I said hey.
Yeah.
But it's because of the fact that nobody's trying to take each other's place, because they understand that everybody is building one thing.
Yeah.
Everybody is together in this. And like, even with Mike's, our other father, even with his side of the family, there is no, we've never believed in step anything.
Yeah.
The only steps there is are the ones we climb up and down. There are no, it's family from day one. And so I think being in that and having struggles of a PK, but you having that strong system to fall on now is different. I think it was only just a struggle because we were in a season where it was just us two for a very long time.
A long time.
Where there was no Haleo or Chris or Harmony or Kadre or Mike. It was just a Hope and Ivan for a long time where it was just us two. So I think we grew in ministry together.
We grew up together.
We grew in life together.
That's why people think we brother and sister.
I had to deal with classmates trying to hit on my mama.
Yeah, all the time.
Like, you know, hook me up with your sister. Ma, what? That's my mama. What are you talking about? Oh, you need a stepdaddy? No, I don't.
But you turned out to be an amazing young man.
Yeah.
And as we begin to wrap the show up, your gifts are making room for you.
Yeah.
You finally come to the place in your life where you're okay with being you.
Oh, let me tell you, I am okay with being me.
Okay. And you have your own business.
Yes, I do.
And your business is producing.
Yes,
so
it is.
as we wrap up, can you tell them a little bit about your business?
So yes, so I have a business. It is called Crunch Custom Grapes. So as my mom said, I'm very peculiar. I'm very different. And so this idea came to me by just being different. And so what Crunch is, it is a various wide range of flavor of grapes that you've never tasted before. So, of course, everybody knows about taffy grapes and strawberry grapes and Oreo grapes. I go times 10.
Yeah.
And
so you have all of them.
She's a test taster.
So we're going to make sure that we put your information and everything up.
Yeah.
So that if anybody is interested in doing that, that they can reach out to you.
Yes, please.
But I want to thank you. Taking time
they put me on the show.
I want to thank God. And you're on the show.
I'm on the show. Usually I'm behind the scenes, y'all.
But you're on the show.
But I'm on the show. I got a chair. I'm on the show. I got me a mic.
On the show.
I'm on the show.
And you did an amazing job. And I appreciate you. I love you for being so open. I feel like what you said, you're going to change lives. You're going to bless people. Continue to be who God created you to be. Don't water it down.
Mm-hmm.
Remain integral. Remain respectful. That anything that has nothing to do with nothing,
it's Joe
go. I just got to tell you what it is. And you be who God created you to be with.
No hesitations, no holdbacks.
No, none of that. Because you were made in his image. And I just thank God for you. I thank you. I love you.
I thank you.
I love you.
And
as
you more.
I wrap up this edition of Pulling Back the Rug, I say this every week, and I will continue to say it over and over again. There are a million reasons to love, but there should never, ever, ever be a reason to hate. So until next week, this has been Pulling Back the Rug. Peace.
Every day the sun don't shine, oh, keep it moving, keep it moving. It's up to you the way you choose to go. Keep it moving, keep it moving.